Welcome to The Coach's Call, a podcast by the Texas High School Coaches Association. In this show, Chris Daly introduces you to coaches across all sports and highlights the positive impact of public schools and high school athletics. Chris will introduce his guest after these messages.
Hello, Coach's Call listeners. This is Joe Martin, Executive Director of Texas High School Coaches Association. Thank you for listening to our new podcast. This is a new adventure for us. Our goal is with this podcast to help spread the stories of all positive things coaches in our great state do for athletes. We also want to keep you updated with all the THSCA initiatives our members can take advantage of. As you go through your season, don't forget to nominate your best athletes for our super elite teams. We will have teams from each sport and classification under the UIL umbrella. Also, we need your help recognizing the state's amazing assistant coaches and head coaches. As coaches typically don't have a problem recognizing their athletes, but we struggle when it comes to patting ourselves on the back. So let's change it. Make it a priority to help us recognize the great work that coaches do in the state of Texas. Finally, put February 3 on your calendar right now. Saturday, February the 3rd, we will have our annual regional meetings. This is a great opportunity to gather with area coaches, get THSCA updates, and nominate people for THSCA awards. This is open to all coaches of all sports, and it's the perfect way to network with coaches in your area. So go to thsca.com to find nomination forms, deadlines, regional meeting sites, and much, much more. We want to thank all of our coaches for the work they do for students every day. We will continue to support you by helping coaches help kids. Thank you.
Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast? It is the absolute best way to grow your brand, spread your message, and build your following. Fresh Media Works can help. We do all the heavy lifting, and you just focus on your message. To find out how easy we can make launching your new podcast, call 713-269-4620 or check us out at freshmediaworks.com. The interviews in this show are brought to you by the Texas High School Coaches Association. THSCA provides to its more than 26,000 members access to the people, events, tools, and resources to help them thrive in the profession, become trusted leaders in their communities, and live balanced and successful lives. The work and sacrifice coaches do every day is vital to the development and success of student athletes. The THSCA supports these efforts. We fight for every coach, provide them with the connections and resources to improve their lives, and help all student athletes throughout the state enjoy lasting success. The mission statement is simply this: to help and serve Texas high school coaches as they work to help and serve student athletes. Helping coaches help kids. For more information on the THSCA, visit www.thsca.com. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Dr. Charles Breithaupt to the show. Charles, how are you today?
Great, Chris. Good to talk to you again.
You too, man. I know you, but some in the audience might not. So give us a little background from your coaching days.
A long time ago. Yeah, I coached, my last year of coaching was in 1992. I started as a junior high coach way back in 1975. So I worked my way up and coached football, basketball, baseball, track, whatever else we had. In small schools, we didn't have a lot. But at the end of the day, I'm still a coach. I still think about coaching. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking of things that I should have done, especially in the losses that I had. But I wouldn't trade coaching for anything in my life. It's made a huge difference for me and for my family. And I think anyone who coaches is doing it because it's a mission. It's a calling. It's not something you just happen into. You might do that for a little bit, but you're not going to find happiness that way. True coaches coach with a zeal of not only the sport, but for the people who are playing the sport, and also for those that they're coaching alongside. So I just think there's some happiness that can be found in that. Don't make much money, but you certainly can fulfill your life dreams and do those things that make a difference in this world.
Yeah, I love that. And you just sort of breezed over your coaching career there, but you had some pretty good teams.
Well, I was fortunate. I was a really good bus driver. I could get them to the games and make them play. We did have some really good teams. I was a head coach for 14 years, basketball, and we had some really good teams, made the playoffs every year. That was back before you had 4 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I wish we would have had that comfort, but you know what? We didn't do as well as we wanted in the playoffs. We did have 2 teams make the state tournament. I had 5 that made the regional tournament, and that's a great experience. I'll never forget those days. Winning the state championship in 1991 was kind of the highlight of my coaching career, because all of those guys, it wasn't because we won the gold medals. It was because those guys have turned out to be such fabulous people. The 5 stars all have doctor in front of their names now.
Wow.
So they were a lot smarter than I was. But that's why I say I was a good bus driver. But at the end of the day, that's what coaching's about. It's not how you don't judge your success by how many games you win. You judge your success 25 years later to see what kind of young people they become. And I think that's a mark of a great coach. If those people that you coach are still coming back and talking to you and asking for advice and being your friend, that tells you did a great job. If they never want to talk to you, they never come back to see you, they never call you, never write, you probably didn't have the influence on them that was a positive one, at least, or one that made a difference in their life.
Right on. And after coaching, you moved on to influence more than just even coaches with the UIL. You've been there for quite a while, and talk about the UIL and what you do there.
Yeah, I came reluctantly to the UIL. I didn't want to get out of coaching. I still thought I had some meat on the bone and still some things I wanted to accomplish, but Dr. Bill Farney convinced me that it was the right thing. He said, you have a lot of influence on the 700 kids in this high school, but how about the hundreds of thousands that you could have influence on as we do the work that we do at the UIL? So I bought into that. It took me a little while to get my feet on the ground and understand what we really were doing. The job wasn't difficult, but it was just different. I wasn't used to sitting behind a desk, and I wasn't used to being on the telephone all the time. And in those early days, before computers and before cell phones, you had to sit at your desk and answer letters. And we started getting email after that. And then the job completely changed after social media began. But those early days were difficult because I still miss coaching. I miss being with the kids, and I miss being with the fellow coaches. And so what it enabled me to do is something that I really enjoyed, was to go watch other people play. And not fret about it, not stress over it. And really my great joy is to go watch other people practice, whether it was football or baseball or whatever the sport might be, just to go out and stand around and watch other coach and see how he did it and how she did it. That really meant a lot to me. And, of course, I got to see the best of the best every year in the state championships. That was really kind of a highlight. I mean, you get to see the champions. We're crowning the champions and handing out gold medals and trophies. So that's pretty special. And then, you go through the epochs of time with reclassification, realignment, which we're doing another one now. It's my 16th. We'll release that on February 1st. So you see the challenge of that, and that gets you juices flowing because you've got to get it right. You've got to work really hard. And you've got to make sure it happens. So it's just like coaching in a way. You have these things that have to be accomplished, and you have to do it in the right way, and you have to have the right people helping you. And that's the way it's been. So it's turned into a great love. I love the league. I love what it stands for. We're easily criticized because someone has to have the rules that we go by, and our schools decide what those are, and then we're supposed to enforce them. And it's tough to have to adjudicate And I don't do that personally. That's done by committees of superintendents and former superintendents and athletic directors. But it's hard when you see people have to forfeit games. We don't have a lot of that. You think about the millions of games that we play. I mean, really, we play over 1 million games a year. We have very few problems. And that's because I think we have some of the greatest coaches associations in the world. The Texas High School Coaches Association, primarily, with over 26,000 coaches, do such a great job of training coaches and giving us a chance to stand before them at their convention, at their regional meetings, and at different venues to be able to say, hey, this is a new rule. This is what you need to be careful of. This is what you should watch for. This is how you can be successful as a coach without getting your school or your team in trouble. So that's been a blessing. So we had we have a lot of hands in the pot stirring with our Coaches Association, and really thankful that we have a great relationship with them.
Yeah, if you could talk about that, how that's evolved, because it feels to me, and you know, I've only been involved with it for 25 years. it feels to me that it's getting more and more cooperative as the years go.
Well, I think you're right. That we were polar opposites when I came to the league, and it was no one's fault. It was just the coaches felt like they needed to stand apart, and we felt like we needed to stand apart. When I came in, Eddie Joseph was the executive director. We had different opinions on how things would get done, and we became good friends later in his life, and really admired him. And of course, his sons and grandsons have developed their own coaching tree. But Coach Joseph was, he was a icon of the Coaches Association. And again, I respected him very much. And his assistant, Eddie Walsky, and I were best of friends. Spent a lot of time. I ended up hiring him after he retired from the Coaches Association. And then DW came in, and of course, Coach Rutledge had ideas to make the organization bigger and better through technology and through different ideas that he had. And of course, what a great coach he was. And you and I know a little bit about him because we wrote a book about him called Rocket Man.
We did.
And we got to really know him. What a great man. Just a good man of character and tremendous family as well. And when he hired Joe Martin, I knew Joe was going to be fabulous. And he waited for his turn. And when he came in, he did so many things that I told him, I said, man, you took a really good job and turned it in position and turned it into a job. Because he is really rolling with some things, the rock mentorship and all the different committees that he has now for every sport. That takes time and money, and he was willing to do that. So all the things that are going on at the coaching school in July don't stop just there. It's not just that week of all the things that are happening where coaches gather together. It's what happens after that where everybody branches out and they take those messages far and wide. And I'm proud of what he's done, and thankful that he's such a good friend to the UIL. They do a lot of work on our behalf during the legislative sessions. They don't do it for us. They do it for coaches. And you know what? When you mess with the UIL, you're messing with coaches. That's kind of the deal. And they have their own way to do things, and we're different in many ways from other state associations, but that is one. The officials and the coaches associations are separate from the state association. And most other associations, they have everything under their umbrella, and they direct the coaches. Well, we do is work with the coaches. We think it works best because they can do a lot of things we can't do. And there's no way we could ever get everybody that coaches into the same room at the same time. It's just impossible. So I go to Arkansas, for example, and speak at their coaches association during their coaching school. And, they're required to be there. If you're a football coach, you got to sit in the rules. When the rules committee gets up to explain what's new, you've got to be in that room. You got to sign in. You don't get to coach that year. And so it'd be nice if we could do it that way. But I think it's better the way we do it. And, of course, so much done digitally now. When you can send information out where it's easy access on my phone, my iPad, or computer, it makes it a lot easier. But we are different, and we're glad that people understand that we are, and we're glad that we have the association that we have and the relationship we have with THSCA, TGCA, and all the others.
Yeah, and you mentioned that they focus on a lot of legislative work. Talk about some of the threats that are facing athletics in general across Texas.
Well, the first thing is going to pop into everybody's mind is this whole business of the transfer portal, because people see that and they want to be able to do the same thing. The reason high school sports, particularly high school football, has been so successful and so widely supported is because it's based on community. The fact that everyone goes to the games because we know those kids. We went to school here. We know these kids are live in our neighborhood. We know their parents. We go to church together. We shop at the same stores. We eat dinner together. We tailgate before the game, and it's a big deal. In many other states, and you can talk to the folks in Florida, and you can talk to some other states who have wide open transfer policies, and they'll tell you it's not good. People aren't interested in watching kids play who they don't know. And it's the same thing that the college football is going to find out, and they already are finding out. If there's no loyalty, there's not much support. People are going to go to the national championship game. I'm talking about the weekly games where you're dependent upon gate receipts to help you fund what you're doing. That's important to the schools to be able to have that. So that's one thing that has always been true of the UIL. We've had a set of rules for athletics that mean something: age, grade, and residence. Those things apply. So you don't want to go out on the field and play against 28-year-olds. You don't want to play against kids that are less than 19 years old after September 1. So I would say that's important. And grade, I mean, I saw yesterday or the day before, I can't remember where he is, but he's in his 7th year of college. How can that be right? I mean, educationally, if we're going to say we're education-based, you ought to be able to graduate from high school in 4 years. Very rarely do we grant an exception for a 5th year. It has to be something very traumatic in a kid's life that causes that. When he's not able to go to school at all and not able to play at all, then we can grant a waiver for that, but that's rare. And I would say the whole residence thing is about what I started off on, is that just letting kids go where they want to go just doesn't make a lot of sense. The whole idea of athletics is to teach you discipline and the ability to work alongside other people who have different standards and different goals, but we meld together, we work together, and we have a team, and, coaches that have to tell you no in order to make you better, it shouldn't cause you to have to transfer. We do have, what people don't understand, too, is that there are exceptions to our residence rule. We have waivers. We have over 1,000 waivers that come into our office for people who can't comply with the rule. There's something beyond their scope of influence that forces them to go to a different school. So I just think that if you talk to any coach, I think he'll tell you, you coach the ones you have. And I don't think coaches want to be recruiters. No, there are some that are accused of being recruiters, but oftentimes programs recruit themselves, don't they? Yeah. I mean, if you moved into Austin and somebody asked you, where would you put, I've just got a job here, I can live anywhere I want. Where would you suggest my son go play football? Well, the first name that pops to mind would be Austin Westlake or Lake Travis. You'll want a smaller school, Liberty Hill, or maybe out of Thorndale. So there are options that people have that can afford that. That's one thing. But just to move because you're not the starting quarterback, I don't think really is the ideal set of circumstances. And I think it would cause more problems for both the child, the school he's going to, and the school he's leaving.
Yeah, I don't think
a lot of people think they want to be at Westlake because of their great success. And if I go there, I get highly recruited. And they go to Westlake and they can't make the starting lineup. So that happens too. Yeah. So I like our rule. I think it's withstood the test of time in many lawsuits. We've survived those. We have become more liberal as the days have gone by. When I first came to the league, it was hard and fast. There were rarely any exceptions. Now we have exceptions to all of our rules. We have waivers for most of them. So there's an opportunity for kids who are in tough situations to get the help they need. But, we have to protect the product that we have. And again, the reason our activities are so popular is because, the kids, these are our kids. Yeah. They belong to our community. They go to our school. We've known them. They grew up here.
Right on. And speaking of popular, talk about the popularity of some of the other sports, and in particular, girls' sports. It has been exploding.
Well, I'm glad you opened that door. My granddaughter's playing on a basketball team out at Liberty Hill. She's a sophomore, and they're 26-0, playing up at Hayes tonight, which will be a tough test. And they'll play Glenn High School on Friday night, so 2 tough games back to back. But they always fall behind the boys basketball team and the football team. They don't get as much attention, but you go and watch them play, you get a lot of joy out of it. The purity of the game for girls sports, it's not the same as you see sometimes with boys sports, because boys are there to win. Yeah, they play. If you research that, why do boys play? Why do they choose to play any activity? I want to win. I want to beat somebody else. And secondly, so I can improve. I can get better. Maybe get a college scholarship. Be a pro. Be in the NBA. Whatever. Right. And you ask the girls the same question. The first thing is to be with my friends. Yes. Oh, they want to win too, but to be with my friends. Socialization. So I think you take those. That makes girls' athletics fun to watch. If you go watch the state volleyball tournament, you see some tremendous skill that has been brought to the table. But you can see that every Tuesday and Friday night in September and October. There you go. They don't get a lot of crowds because sometimes their games are playing opposite of where their football team is, and that's a hard thing for our small schools particularly, because those kids do a lot of different things. If you're a girls volleyball player, you might also be a cheerleader or play in a band. And now you're playing an away game while your football team's playing at home. You can't do those things the way you want to. So sometimes they have to move their games to Saturday to be able to adjust that. So the girls make a lot of sacrifices, and it's often unfair to them. But I'm proud of what our girls' athletic programs do. They stand alongside any of those in the country. Our top teams are, you'll see DeSoto, Duncanville, and San Antonio Clark, who are the top teams in 6A this year in girls basketball. They'll be up there in the national rankings every year. So it's good to see that.
Yeah, if you talk to college coaches in women's sports, the basketballs, the volleyballs, you will see a smattering of Texas athletes on every good program in the country. If you could talk about why, we think about Texas as football, but Texas is athletics more than anything.
Well, it is, Chris, and I'm glad you fashioned it in that way. In fact, back when I first came to the league, we had 2 sports in Texas. We had football, and then we had spring football, and that was about it. Everything else was kind of an aftermath. I think now people have realized that the most important sport in any school is the one your kid plays. So, right. I mean, if it's tennis, it's tennis. And those parents want the best coaches for their kids and the best experiences and all the things that come with a football team. Knowing that, we have to be very cautious about it. We don't have any major sports or minor sports anymore. They're all major. If your kid's playing, it's a major sport. It's a major activity in your household, I can tell you. So just looking at it that way, I think what we've done is we found that back in the mid-'80s, you could not, if you were on a team sport, you could not go to the Texas Association of Basketball Coaches that lobbied the UIL to open that door to allow us to play some non-school games. Now, I think there would be some that would say maybe we went too far because we were warned that we would not like all the club stuff because it'll take over, and it certainly has. I was very, very hesitant to admit that our kids get their, except for football. Football is different. Most kids get their scholarships based on what they did on their club team. In volleyball and basketball, particularly on the men's side, and particularly in softball and baseball, usually the summer stuff. And that's great for the development. We do have great athletes in the state, but I will never give up on the fact that the reason they're as good as they are is not because of their summer coach or their club coach. It's because of the school coach who gets them every single day. Think about this now. We've liberalized the rules to allow a coach to be in contact with a kid every day of the year except the 5 days at the holiday break that we just came off of. And Sunday, you don't get Sundays. So think about that. That makes a difference because that athletic period every day, or that all-season work where you're lifting weights and doing things after school, that helps. That's certainly a great help. But the other things that happen is the discipline, the counseling, the work you do with young people and making sure they're getting their grades, they're paying attention in class, they're doing what they need to do. I think that's a huge advantage for having the athletes in athletic class every day. And I think people pass over. They think, oh, they're just in there running their plays and watching film. That's one of the things our Coaches Association lobbied for many, many years. That was a big deal. Take the athletic period out of the school day. And we've kept it, and it's been important. And I'll tell you why. I told you the reasons, but I'll tell you why it's the most important thing. For me, that athletic period serves as the greatest disciplinary period for any kid. Because guess what happens? A coach is down at the teacher's lounge or at the cafeteria or in the hall or gets a message from a teacher saying, hey, Johnny didn't turn his homework in and he's going to fail this class. And guess who gets on it? The coach. And if he gets in trouble and goes to the principal's office, what is the principal that calls the coach? But, so athletics is a deterrent to bad behavior. And you take care of that during the athletic period. And I just think seeing those kids every day and giving them a chance to talk to you and talk about their problems. We have so many kids that don't have a dad in their life. Texas High School Coaches Association had a program that dealt with that, the fatherless athlete. And I just think paying attention to those sort of things helps us become better coaches and better people.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think the club sports do a lot for the physical, but we develop the adult in those with those coaches.
The philosophy in my mind revolves around the fact that we want these kids to be better citizens after they grow up, get out of school, and have their own children. And they do that by listening to their coaches and following the directions of their coaches. And I think that makes the educational mission of our programs relevant to me.
I love it. It comes down to the Coaches Association saying, helping coaches help kids.
Yes, sir. That's a great motto. It took me a little while to it rings more true today than it did early when they first said that. But I can't think of a better way to say it. That's our job. It's not just to win games. And as I said before, you want those that play for you to come back and say, hey, Coach, how are you? Let me tell you about my family. Let me tell you what's going on in my life. those are blessed moments.
Right on. Well, Dr. Charles Breithaupt, I want to thank you so much for sitting down. It's always good to talk with you, but I love talking sports with you.
Well, we've had a great friendship for a long time, and I appreciate your attention to high school sports. And, it's not about the money, it's about the kids. And that's the beautiful thing about it. A kid doesn't have to pay one nickel to play our sports. If you're going to get in a club, it's going to cost you some big bucks. I think it's great that the school provides the equipment and they pay for the transportation and the hotels if they're going trips. I just think it's the greatest thing. And our schools are willing to pay for that because it is an educational mission.
Yeah, of course, I want to thank our guest, but I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving me what I consider the most valuable thing you can give, your time and your attention. And I know you don't do it to hear me. You hear it for the great messages provided by the THSCA. And hey, if you'd like to associate your company with the THSCA and the Coach's Call podcast, limited sponsorship opportunities are available. You can reach out to me, Chris Daly, 713-269-4620, or head over to my website, freshmediaworks.com. Once again, thank you so much for supporting Texas high school coaches. Please share this show out to everybody you can so that we can help share these important messages. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time on The Coach's Call.